What?
Hey, everybody! Welcome back to Community Climate Voices, the podcast where we take what we're learning in the classroom and apply it to the real world. Specifically, the one we're all walking around in, Kirkland, Washington.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ben Judy, and I'm here with my brilliant co-host, Mr. Eli Eby.
Aw, thanks. I paid him to say that.
Laugh track.
Anyway, today we're tackling something that can feel kind of huge, abstract, that most people aren't very educated on: climate change, and breaking it down to show how it's showing up right here in our own community.
Correct. It's not just polar bears and melting glaciers, although shout out to all the polar bears who are listening to this podcast. We love you guys. It's also it's also how our weather is shifting and our forests and parks are changing and how our neighbors are being affected. Let's talk about what has changed in our community and what has stayed the same in Kirkland's climate.
Historically, Kirkland had a temperate marine climate. That means mild, wet winters and warm but not too hot summers. Think foggy mornings, evergreen trees, and everyone owning at least 3 rain jackets.
For decades, this pattern stayed pretty steady, but over the past 30 years, scientists and locals have noticed a shift. It's not just that we're getting warmer, we're also getting more unpredictable weather.
The continuity, we still get a lot of rain, maybe too much. We're still lucky to have a lot of green space and tree cover, and we're still considered a relatively clean and healthy place to live.
But here's what's changing. More extreme heat. The record-breaking heat wave in 2021 wasn't just a one-time thing. We're getting more of those super hot days and for longer stretches. Increasing wildfire smoke. Even though the fires aren't usually right here in Kirkland, the smoke from eastern Washington and Canada is blowing straight into our region more often and turning summer skies gray and triggering air quality alerts. And lastly, wetter winters and drier summers. More winter storms are dumping heavier rain over shorter periods, leading to flooding. Summers, meanwhile, are getting drier, which means more fire risk and stress on local ecosystems.
One longtime resident told us that when she was a kid, she never had to worry about smoke in the summer. Now, she's constantly checking the weather app, the smoke radar thing, and making sure it's healthy outside. And it's a constant fear of hers in the summer because, she doesn't want to get messed up lungs. That's a scary thing.
That is scary. You know what is also scary? Change. And the change is real. But it's also important to note that some things are still holding on. Our community's resilience, our love for the outdoors, and our ability to adapt.
Now for the good news. We're not helpless. Kirkland is taking steps to face climate change head on.
The city has a sustainability master plan. Sounds fancy, but it basically means they're working on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, protecting the natural spaces, and encouraging cleaner transportation.
Some of the goals include increasing bike paths, installing more electric vehicle charging stations, planting more trees, and switching city buildings to renewable energy. So, if you've seen a new sidewalk bike lane pop out of nowhere, that's part of the plan.
Part of the plan. Local programs are also helping people make their homes more energy efficient. Things like home insulation rebates, solar panel incentives, and composing education, saving the planet and saving on heat bills, win-win.
And as individuals, we can make a difference too. For example, taking the bus or bike when possible, eating more locally grown food, reducing plastic waste by recycling, and talk about climate change like we're doing right now, because awareness leads to what?
Action. Got that action, boss.
Yep.
Even stuff that feels small, like turning off lights or using a reusable water bowl, helps create a culture of sustainability, and that culture is contagious in the best way.
Plus, it gives us an excuse to wear socks with sandals. It's for the planet, not fashion.
Speak for yourself, Eli. For our third segment of this podcast, we'll be interviewing a community member about her experiences and
knowledge.
And her knowledge about climate change. You want to kick us off with the first question?
Our first question for you is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you do in the community related to climate or the environment?
Well, I'm just a typical average person in the community, so I don't have expertise around this, but how I try to make a difference on my own with my own family would be to save water as much as possible and educate my family around water. We talk about the usage of water in the new development of AI and how that has a major impact on our water supply.
100%.
And whether that's something people want to hear or listen to is something at least I'm trying to educate the people around me with through Instagram posts that I've shared or just talking about it at our dinner table and with friends around how you can actually do a Google search that you can make it clear that you don't want AI to be part of your search by adding -AI at the end of any Google search that you do. I recycle. We have a separate recycling bin for plastic film. I think that the way that we use water in our yards or not use water in our yards can make a big difference in how we just care for what's been given to us and steward our resources in a way that's appropriate and I don't.
Okay, that's good. That's a great answer. How have you seen things change over the year in terms of weather, environment, or how people talk about climate around here?
Over the year or years?
Years.
Okay.
Years.
I mean, I could say I have no memories as a kid or as a child or even in my adulthood of having a smoke season. That feels so new in my lifetime. There's only one time I remember that as a high schooler, and I was in Eastern Washington, and so we could see a red sun or an orange sun because of the smoke, and I remember that vividly. And here we are, where that's a seasonal thing for us now that my kids are growing up having a smoke season every summer. So, I mean, that would be an obvious one. I also don't ever remember summers or weeks in a summer where we had temperatures above 100 degrees, which I feel like is something I dread every year now in this region of the country that isn't typical to how we have houses or how we plan our time. We don't have air conditioning, and I think that's pretty typical in our region.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and our last question, what are some things that you think everyday people like yourself can do that actually help our environment?
I think it just takes some mindfulness around how you order items. So like looking at if you're going to order something off of Amazon or something, it's a bulk order of multiple things and you're not doing it for every single thing that you need in your house. Planning ahead. I think it's the way that we use water in our homes and doing our laundry and in your yard, that you're just mindful around what's necessary and what's not actually necessary. And it's a splitting between what's a luxury item and what's an actual need. I think when we think about the ways that we vote for who is looking at our environment, who's looking at lasting impact of things, it just means having awareness and being educated and caring about a generation ahead of you and the one after that, and not just what you need right here and right now.
Let's give a round of applause to our climate change expert, Rebecca Judy.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this thing up. What did we learn?
What we've talked about is that climate change is a real problem and it's affecting Kirkland in big and small ways. Some patterns have continued, but others, like our weather and air quality, are changing way too fast.
We heard from real people in our community who are experiencing this firsthand, and we looked at ways our city and we as individuals can step up to be part of the solution.
So yeah, the future is not written yet, but if we work together, stay informed, and take action, we can shape it for the better.
Thanks for listening to Community Climate Voices. I'm Mr. Eby.
And I'm Mr. Judy. Stay dry, stay cool, and stay hopeful. See you next time.
Peace.